I mean, this is just mainline criminality. When I was covering Bilderberg up in Canada, there in the capital in Ottawa, we were outside town at the big hotel outside of where it was happening. They had guys there going, "Hey, Alex, you want to attack something?" And I'm like, "You're a 6'5", obvious Royal Mounted Police." He's like, "Just like an FBI agent." And the guy's like, "Well, he didn't even deny it because my camera guys were like 20 feet away." He goes, "We're just making sure everything's all right." As soon as I called him out, it was like, knock it off.
Yeah, and I remember that. I was right there beside you. I remember that.
You actually remember? Wow, I forgot you were there. That's right.
I was there. You interviewed me. You included me in Endgame for that. Yeah, I remember that.
Wow, so I forgot you were actually a witness to that.
Yeah, I was right there beside you. I saw that guy saying stuff like, "Hey, maybe we should, get serious and do something. Why don't we actually do something to these guys?" And trying to get one of us to say, yeah, let's get violent.
And then they had that fake hippie with the beret on going, "I want to nuke them, agree with me." And I'm like, I just looked at the cops and I'm like, come on, man, we're just here protesting.
Yeah.
I mean, But
yeah,
the point is, it's not just like they're trying to get us to talk about violence to see if we will. They'll go and do it themselves is the point.
Yeah. Well, like we documented, just like you said, these happens at the G20 summits. And of course, with the G20 event here in Toronto in 2010, and we documented that in Into the Fire. And you can see these thuggish black bloc types who some of them are running right behind the police line. It's clear that there was police involvement, and they're always trying to manipulate these events to get more control. And if people want to see that, you can certainly check that out Into the Fire. That's also available at INFOWARS.com. But we document how these events are often manipulated by the police, by the authorities to gain more control over the people.
Well said. Before I get to more on Islamic terror, in many cases being funded by criminal elements in Western governments and corporations, and explain how this works for people, other points you'd like to make about the inside job that's 9/11?
Well, again, as you said, people are waking up to this. But at the same time, I'm still a little bit surprised sometimes when I come across a lot of people who have never even heard of one of the biggest smoking guns, the collapse of World Trade Center 7. So many people still think that only 2 towers collapsed in New York on that day. And it still surprises me sometimes, and where a lot of these people will dismiss these ideas as conspiracy theories, yet they haven't even seen any of the crucial evidence, or they don't even know that World Trade Center 7 collapsed that day. So that just boggles my mind that still goes on. And again, that's why this information is absolutely crucial to get out at this time. And I want to let people know that it is available, the DVD, but we have also made it available for download at pressfortruth.tv. And Alex, I've been stepping up my game this year. I started Press for Truth TV, and we're doing daily videos every day, weekly video reports every Wednesday. And so if anybody likes our work at Press for Truth and you want to show your support, we would ask that you subscribe to Press for Truth TV. You can download the DVD, and of course, you'll get access to all of our films and our daily videos and weekly reports. So that's a great way to show your support. But as far as the condensed, edited DVD version, if you want the actual physical package for your collection, which I strongly recommend, please check it out at Infowars.com. It's a must-have for the collection.
Sure, and of course you authorize people to make copies of the DVD and to air it on Access Television?
Absolutely, yeah. We fully encourage people to please make copies of this disc, burn it, hand it out to your friends and families and strangers, hold street actions in your towns, hold events, and hand this information out there. Just get it out there. We absolutely fully encourage that.
Well, the power, of people taking action for 17 years, starting on Access TV. Over the years, so many people got woken up when somebody sees one of my shows or films on Access. People need to get it on Access TV. It's still there, still has a lot of viewers. People air clips of the films on college radio. They send links out to people. The power of little people taking action is so amazing. In the last 8.5 months, Dan, we've just been beta testing InfoWars Nightly News. Some nights it's 30 minutes. Most nights it's an hour and a half, 2 hours long. As we figure out how we want to do it, it's subscription at PrisonPlanet.tv. Then we post it the next day on YouTube, millions of viewers a week. We also just have discovered that it's been on for like 6 months in England on cable. We've said free to air. People are downloading it. It's on a lot of cable systems now where the managers download it and put it on themselves, not just access. So without even providing the satellite uplinks and news sharing systems, which we're having to pay for and put in, it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're developing that right now. It's already getting out there because people are so hungry for the truth. That's what's exciting. Now, I want to show an analogy here, or not even an analogy. I want to go over a diagram here, Dan, because we just mentioned how the underwear bomber was gotten on the plane by the U.S. government, admitted in Congress a month and a half after I had witnesses on my show that witnessed it in Amsterdam, right as Chertoff rolls out the naked body scanners that he makes money off of. We talked about al-Qaeda being used by the West to overthrow Libya and try to overthrow Syria and calling them freedom fighters. I want to explain to people here with a drawing that I did while you were talking, if we can get a document cam shot of this. If you look right here, you've got the Corporate Crime Syndicate, CCS, and all their management systems and all their global propaganda. They want to destroy nation states or use them as kamikazes against their neighbors. They want to get control of governments and get the tax money back in bailouts. But to scare the USA and the West, Europe, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, into giving over their authority and a police state, which is just strengthening the coup d'etat and financial penetration of this virus, and to erect police state chains around the society to make sure that they're in full control, to fully metastasize like the cancer they are into the West, Muslim extremism. And if you go back to British intelligence helping set it up, overthrowing the moderate government in Iran, others, creating al-Qaeda, creating Taliban, funding them, the hijackers trained at U.S. bases, all that's on record. That's how it works. So people think, are you saying the USA controls al-Qaeda? No. Criminal elements in the corporate crime syndicate that have infiltrated and taken over the regulatory positions in government felt confident enough on 9/11, as Dick Cheney said, barring a big catalyzing Pearl Harbor event that kills at least 3,000. And by the way, he said that. People can read that, the September 20th, 2000 document. We're not going to be able to go and invade all these countries in Africa, in Asia, in Eastern Europe, not for even America to take it over and bring freedom, but to leverage the strength of the West against the rest of the world via the Muslim threat that's, quote, in every, Indonesia, Asia, China, Mongolia, it's everywhere. Tibet, Africa, it's their excuse to go after Africa. It's the excuse to go after China. It's the excuse to go after Eastern Europe and all the Caucasus states and Russia and in South America. It's the excuse to invade all these areas. So they take us over, claim they're protecting us from this when they're financing this. That's full spectrum dominance. You want a war to go into Afghanistan and get their opium production? You fund the U.S. troops and NATO troops to go in. You simulate the attacks to get the West to do it, and then you even fund the Taliban and al-Qaeda. That's full spectrum dominance to control the territory. So that's, a crude breakdown for folks. And as soon as I explain that to good old boys, they go, oh, criminal corporate interests are funding al-Qaeda, Taliban, and radical groups. They're putting the Muslim Brotherhood, that's al-Qaeda light, in everywhere. Iraq, burqas, no women going to the college, total enslavement. Libya, 60+% women graduating. Whatever you want to say about Gaddafi empowering the people compared to, I'm not for socialism, but a true socialism where they actually were sharing the wealth with people. Lifting up Africa, gone, destroyed. Put al-Qaeda in, sexual mutilation, burqas, whole deal's on. Same thing, shutting down freedom, taking the old dictator out, making it at least 5 times worse, most estimates are, in Egypt. Attacking Assad, not saying he's a great guy, but they're using al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda says we're going to kill the Christians and Jews once we get in there. And the media's like, you're not patriotic if you don't support al-Qaeda. Now they're just out in the open. How are they going to get away with that?
It's just like what you said. They're providing the excuses for invasion. And look at the new boogeyman Joseph Kony and their excuse to get in there into Uganda and the Congo and Somalia and Syria and other regions. But the amazing thing is, to get back to what we were talking about before, is it is somewhat starting to fall apart. Just look at with that Coney 2012 thing. So many people saw it for what it is. They even had to, shut off the comments on their videos because so many people were calling it out for what it was, which is a fraud. They saw that this is a lie. This is an excuse to invade by NATO, by the UN, bypassing congressional, Congress, who should have the ability to say whether or not the U.S. goes to war or not. They're trying to change that and just say, well, if the United Nations or NATO feels that for humanitarian purposes we need to invade these countries, then so be it. But again, luckily, their charade is starting to fall. People are seeing through it more and more these days. So we're just going to have to really continue with our efforts at exposing these false flag events for precisely what they are. It's just that, small criminal elements within the governments who are the ones carrying out the majority of these types of events.
It was the father of the U.S. Navy when many, many times defeating odds 3-1, 4-1. John Paul Jones, when his ship was sinking and he refused to give up, and it turned out that the powder magazine blew up on the ship next, so he ended up winning because he held out for another hour or so. John Paul Jones said, they said, do you surrender? We're going to let you sink and kill you. And he said, I have not yet begun to fight. Well, I want to say the new INFOWARS motto is, we have not yet begun to fight. We have only begun to fight. And that's what it's all about. We know things are bad. They're worse than bad. They're crazy, to quote Network. But at least we're in the fight, and that's what makes us human. That's what empowers us. I don't agree with a lot of what Nietzsche said. I've read several of his books. But I do agree with that which does not kill us only makes us stronger, and humanity will make it through this great time of tumult. Dan Dix from Press for Truth, thank you so much for joining us.
That's my pleasure, Alex. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this extended edition of INFOWARS Nightly News. Lord willing, and thanks to your support, we'll be back tomorrow night, 7 o'clock.